Okay, it is now 6 o'clock. We all rise to the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Just want to take there. Councilman Jim Kelly,
I'm here.
Councilperson Blake Simpson, Councilman Blake Simpson. Councilwoman Diane Klein, Councilwoman Debbie Dowling.
Here.
No, this
Council
one's
Tracy Kelly.
I have, but not here.
Tracy Kelly. Counselor, Matt Jankowski just told me he's on his way over here. John Berry, I have no idea.
I'll fill in for that one.
All right. Today's meeting, we're going to do public comment period again, coming through here. I just want you to be aware of something. This is not the public comment period for the seated development. All it was basically what was posted online was telling us that we have been given documentation for the public comment period that's going to happen soon. The DEC is going to be notifying the town board when that public comment is. I will then notify everyone involved when that meeting is, more or less. So if you have a comment, if you have a public comment about city development, if you could wait on that till the time is proper.
It has already opened. The letter from DEC said the public comment period for them has already opened, and there is a
People may
dead-
send letters.
yes,
to
and
them, then-
and just so that the town board knows, this legal notice was
We have-
posted
yes.
today.
We have, this is a legal notice right here, and there are copies over there, for those of you who want legal notice of the, yes.
Thank you, Diana. Yeah, I couldn't remember the date.
That was submitted by the applicant and his consultants.
Right.
And you can- There's a phone number that you can call and.
Yes. Correct. So at this point, if you have public comments, they're to go to DEC.
No, we don't do it. We've already had a couple of problems.
It's 2020.
The only availability was.
DEC.
Well, they're to call that number that's listed for that South or send a letter to that.
21 South Putt Corners Road, New Paltz, New York, 12561.
All right, town clerk's report.
Gave you a summary last time at the last meeting, but the town clerk collected $10,294.
Right. I didn't do public comment, though. You do
Town
that.
clerk, supervisor.
Then public comment.
Okay, so again, for the month of June, the town clerk's office collected $10,294.50. Against the bulk of that, $9,657 was as a result of the building department. This does not show the collection for the transfer station, asset transfer station. We're having to modify the report. We'll get that incorporated hopefully next month.
Okay. Supervisor report, that's me. The only thing I have to give here is the revenue we've got so far. This is the interest on our savings at Banjo Green County. It was budgeted that the revenue would be $140,000 the entire year of 2024. So far, our interest that we have collected so far is $186,764.56. That's only for half a year. We still have another half year coming here, so,
Can you repeat that?
$186,764.56.
And that's the result of the increase in this
Interest rate from 2% to 5.25%. We got that. So, we have overshot, obviously, we expected revenue, and we're going to overshoot it a lot more coming through there. All right. At the next board meeting, I will give you the other revenue when it comes to the transfer station and what's going through that we have a little problem with the transfer station is how we organizing the money more or less. Wendy Trojak is going through it diligently, and, by next time, I think we should have something. I already have something for the first 4 or 5 months from the transfer station, so, and I will give that out to, at the next board meeting. Okay, all right. Any questions on that?
You anticipate having a set of financials for the next board meeting?
I would like to think we can.
Okay,
I like it.
yeah, I mean, I expect that.
Well, here's the, I have to say something. The first financial that was done, the first board was done by hand. It took a long, I know. I'm saying the second one,
The expectation, Mike, is that
we are trying to get it in by the next one. We are trying to get it.
I stated that for the record.
Okay, public comment. Is there a second for public comment? Or, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we don't have a list of,
Cheryl is the only one who signed up so far.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Hurley on Cedar Street. This is about Cedar East. I just want to know that, are you sending out letters to the people in the area to let them know about what's going on? Because not everybody's on social media. Not everybody gets the premium. And we cannot, as people keep saying, because the last time this happened, letters were sent out to us certified to let us know what was going on. I'm not saying if you don't want to send them out certified form, but you really should let the people in the area, especially over here, know what is going on with the DEC about making public comments. Because not, like I said, I have a lot of elderly people here, and there are a lot of people who do not go on social media. And it's not fair for them not to know what is going on with the DEC. So let them know, so they can make public comments. And the letters have to get out real soon because of the deadline. Since the DEC has put a deadline on this, 30 days after it has been notified, it's publicized. And how do I know this? We spoke to Rebecca the other day on the phone, and she told us that it's 30 days from either when it was published or when they put it out. So the deadline is coming very soon. So they have to be known, because I know there's a lot of elderly people here that are not on social media. And it's not fair for us to be going around and telling everybody in the area, which we can't do.
It was also printed in the newspaper of record.
Not everybody gets the premium. I do not get the premium. I get it online. And if I didn't see it online, I never would have known. Not everybody pays for the premium either. So, and a lot of people do not look at public notices. I just happened to me because I was looking for something.
So if the board wants to, I mean, I would just be concerned about whether or not you decide to do this and you set any precedent, because it's not your public hearing. But
It's
if you,
not related to the town.
but if you choose that you want to,
But you should be informing the people.
Cheryl,
but
No,
if-
we're not a newspaper. We're a
if,
town board.
if you want to, it's a very easy process for me to pull everybody's information that's within a, whether it's a 500-foot radius or, continuous.
I don't think we can set a precedent on this.
That's why I'm saying that's not my call. That's the
Tracy,
board's
I
call.
also have the list that got sent to people
Right.
during the
well,
public,
this is
so,
sent during the planning board.
right, that's what Cheryl's referring to.
No, I'm just saying.
Okay. All right, thank you, Cheryl. We'll get back. Okay, anybody else wish to make a comment? Okay.
Lydia, 46 Walton Lane. I'll just say that during the process, the original process, there was a large email list that was put together. There was a lawsuit that was brought against the town regarding this. And those materials should be accessible, and I would use that chain that we had before, barring whatever the town board decides to do. Thanks.
Okay, is there another person, anybody else wish to speak? Okay, motion to close public comment? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So be it. Public comment is closed. Yeah, on the very first topic here, we have is the presentation of the safety committee, road safety and updates.
Hello, everyone. We have our guests from the county here today.
No,
Oh,
I spoke to Amanda Laval. She had another meeting.
we can
Right.
set the presentation. For all who are in attendance, happy to share this. My name is Harry McNamara. I'm here to represent the newly formed Hurley Safety Committee. We have a couple other members here, Wendy Kodak and Betsy Blair. So thank you for my safety committee members. Our goal is to improve safety in Hurley with a few key projects at FARS. We're working towards a more complete EMS service to serve the town residents, a comprehensive emergency plan for the town, and the main topic of the presentation tonight, which is road safety. Personally, I joined the safety committee because I believe the roads in Hurley are a serious danger at this time, particularly Old Hurley Main Street and Schoolhouse Lane, Sandhook, Millbrook, and Route 209 through Old Hurley. Before we go too much further into the problems that need to be addressed, I'd like to share a couple items of progress. The town of Hurley and the highway department and Mike Opus have added stop signs at the dangerous intersection of Sandhook and Hillside, and at the intersection of Schoolhouse Road and Russell.
Oh, stay there, okay.
And Schoolhouse Lane and Russell Road. So, that's really great. The town plans to narrow the opening of Schoolhouse Lane and Russell Road later this summer to slow down traffic at this juncture of a residential neighborhood and Muncie Street. In addition, the county is starting work on the dangerous open culverts on Xanta. And we thank the county for working on this. And adding a walking path potentially, which would allow for the residents along Xanta to actually leave their homes by foot or by bike, which we can't do at this time. Currently, there's no safe shoulder at all. So just last week, another car went off the road into an open culvert. We're petitioning the town and working with the town to consider adding more safety measures. Speed humps were installed in Joy's Lane, and we welcome the progress reports on the results there, as they could be effective in other areas. Members of the board, particularly Mike Collins, who we met with last time we met, and Debbie Hardy, who formed the safety committee, have been a great help. And the town board overall has been supportive for the cause of road safety here in the town. But we need help from the county to escalate this to the county and state level and address the county and state roads that pass through our town. This is a fantastic time to take on these issues. The city of Albany has just unanimously approved a citywide 25-mile-an-hour speed limits. That was proposed in 2022 and was finally just ratified. Mayor Steve Noble of Kingston has just put forth a resolution to lower the speed limit in Kingston to 25 as well. So people across the region are clamoring for safe streets, and the easiest and cheapest way to do this is to lower the speed limits. Go to the next slide, please. This is from the National Highway Transportation Safety Authority. Yeah, thank you. It rates lower speed limits with 5 stars of effectiveness and cost of $1 sign. Does it get better than that? So we'll go to the next one, please. Here's some data recently collected on Sandhook Road. While there were some serious speeders, as people may have seen, this is on the Safe Track to Summer flyer. Most drivers were going. Actually, I didn't do that.
Yep.
Most drivers were going under the speed limit a little bit more. The bottom corner there.
Oh.
The average speed was 31.7 miles an hour. It's 35. If people can't drive the speed limit safely, it is too high. Now, the next slide is a map of the 11 incidents on Xanthus Road last year alone. This is a short stretch of road. Yeah. Okay, now on to Main Street. Hurley Main Street is home to a number of. I'm going to mix that one. Go to the next one, please. Sorry. There we go. Hurley Main Street is home to a number of historically significant buildings. 16, actually, as you can see there are on Hurley Ave and Hurley Main Street. Those are both 35-mile-an-hour double yellow line county roads. It's lined with plaques detailing our rich history, and yet every day the vast majority of drivers speed by. A 35-mile-an-hour speed limit does not give the due respect to these important landmarks. And I actually have a letter from Marion McCorkle, president of the Ulster County Historical Society, and she wanted to weigh in on this on our behalf. She said, Ulster County Historical Society is very familiar with the threats presented by the speed vehicles travel on Route 209 in particular. Many of our visitors comment on how frightened they are when entering and exiting our driveway on a 55-mile-an-hour bend. Many won't visit our museum because of it. The busy intersections of Hurley are equally challenging. A lower speed limit on Route 209 would ease the situation and increase safety. Hurley's Main Street Historic District invites pedestrians with sidewalks, old stone houses, a church, a library, and a historic site open to the public. This is again Marion's words. In Stone Ridge, where I live, our Main Street Historic District is very similar, but the speed limit drops to 30 miles an hour. This increases safety and treats our historic district with respect. Hurley's historic district would benefit from lowering speed limit to 30 miles an hour for the same reasons. It would only take 3 extra seconds to travel a quarter mile to historic Main Street at the lower speed, increasing safety and perhaps interest in our county's rich history. An extra 3 seconds. Our beautiful Dutch historic homes. In addition, both Schoolhouse Lane and portions of Main Street are the emergency egress from Meyer Elementary in case of a significant emergency. This narrow road with no signs indicating a school zone, a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, and a blind belt is simply not safe for our school children. The road is treated as an on and off ramp to 209, and vehicle speeds match that treatment. Next slide, please. As you can see, people are leaving visible tire marks as they careen past the school through the residential area. That's after the stop sign got put in. Those are people going left and taking that turn so tight. So hopefully that's additional.
Those originally at the stop sign. That's people accelerate.
I live right here, so I'm
That's
telling you,
accelerate.
they're going this way too. Okay, next slide. According to New York State Department of Transportation data from this map, the section of 209 from Cottonville Road to Wine Coop in Old Hurley sees approximately 9,000 daily travelers. And then you can see the next section from Wine Coop to Route 28, there's about 13,000 daily travelers. Schoolhouse Lane is 1,419. So that's about 10% of the number of cars that are traversing the same section of 209. For comparison, the DOT also measured a section of Russell Road. That has 49 cars. So that's
Hour.
daily, average daily trips. So that's the kind of traffic that the residents generate here. And our neighborhood is not a highway, and we're tired of being treated like one, at least I am. So now to the big project, which is Route 209. As Mrs. McCarville made a point in her letter, 209 is an exceedingly dangerous route through Hurley. As you attempt to turn into Russell Road to visit Town Hall or to visit our local businesses in that area, cars will pass you at full speed on the shoulder. Cars fly off of 209 onto Russell Road and immediately over a pedestrian crosswalk on the rail trail. The entrances of the OW rail trail are clogged with cautious drivers waiting for an opportunity to safely exit. This is arguably the area with the highest pedestrian traffic in all of Hurley because of the rail trail. And I, for one, would love to see more people than that using the rail trail. There is precedent to change the speed limits. Nearly all the other towns in the 209 corridor through the Roundout Valley have lower speed limits than Hurley. 40 in Marbletown. Next one. 30 in Stone Ridge. Next. 45 in the town of Rochester. Why is Hurley subject to these dangerous speeds past our homes, neighborhoods, and our walking trail? The rail trail is safely hidden in the woods once you get to Martintown, but that town sees the benefit of lower speed limit here. So this is the section of trail that the safety committee has discussed lowering the speed limit. This is from the Creek Bridge of the Esopus, where the first rail trail entrance is, past the turnoff for Main Street, Russell Road, Town Hall, and then the additional trailhead in the woods down to that. That's 2.1 miles. This compromises the section of the trail that is the most dangerous, as the rail trail has road frontage all the way along 209 the whole way. There are 3 rail trail parking lots, neighborhoods, businesses, historic district, and the town hall. If we adjusted this section to 40 miles an hour to match Marbletown, just a couple miles down the road that you saw, it would take just 3 minutes and 9 seconds to traverse this section of road. Google already has it at 3 minutes. It's completely tiny difference. If you do the math, it would take 52 seconds longer than if you traverse it at 52 seconds. You guys can next. So, this is more from the NHTSA. It's 7,522 pedestrian fatalities last year, or in 2022, excuse me. Since the DOT and Ulster County started collecting data, we've had 47 serious injury or fatality crashes in just this small section of Old Hurley mapped here. Imagine if we could cut that by 50%. If you go to the next slide and you zoom out, you can see what kind of impact these programs would have if it was implemented across an even larger area. So unfortunately, our guests from the county are not here, but I intended to speak to them directly. Is that the response we've heard from the county again and again is that the county is not willing to change the speed limits along county roads and highways in our area. We wouldn't accuse anyone individually, but that's the messaging we've received.
I mean, Harry, Mr. Stewart came to our meeting here. And
Yes.
told us that sidewalks are expensive to do.
This is true. So what we learned is that the town is responsible for installing sidewalks, but the county can easily change the speed limit with just a stroke of a pen. So Eric Stewart actually reported this, that the county said they're not willing to change the speed limits directly to a citizen advocacy group that has a detailed email chain headed up by my neighbor, Sarah Copeland. And 2 times, she lives on Main Street, 2 times vehicles leaving her home have been struck by cars speeding down Main Street. So we just need a little help to make these small changes, and it would make a huge impact on safety. These are the proposed road safety measures, some in progress, culvert project and walking paths on Zandhook. Approved school bus stop signage on Zandhook, Millbrook, and Hurley Ave, where there are school bus stops that are not currently noted officially. Designated schoolhouse lane as a school zone. I see that on the agenda for tonight, and adjust the speed limit. I would love to see speed humps on the schoolhouse lane to discourage its use as a highway off-ramp. Lower speed limits along county roads in Hurley to 30 miles an hour. And lower the speed limits on State Route 209 to 40 miles an hour. So this is as clear as day to me. 3 seconds on Main Street, 52 seconds on 209. That's less than 1 minute of travel time to give Hurley its due respect, its history, its due respect, to improve outdoor recreation for the residents of our town and people from other towns who come to visit, use the rail trail that now connects to Kingston, and improve safety so our children can walk to school or so our neighbors can pull out of their driveway. That's less than 1 minute to potentially save a life. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you very much.
Schoolhouse roads, school zone designation, according to doing also here. In 2021, we passed a resolution to designate that. I was told yesterday by Emmanuel Laval that it has to be the principal of Myers School must request schoolhouse lane. All right, so at least we got direction now.
Great.
And therefore, like, what we're gonna do basically is we're gonna contact her, and get the ball rolling, get that going.
Great.
Now that we have been told this is how we go about doing it. Because we did our part. We did our part, and that was in 2021, where we get a resolution to do that kind of thing. We are going to, and we're gonna discuss this a little later, have a resolution to the DOT to lower the speed limit on 209 to 40 miles an hour. We're gonna use precedence is Stone Ridge, basically, from High Falls Cafe all into town. It's a 3-mile stretch, all 40 miles going through that way. And so we are going to do this thing. The problem we have with that is that the county engineer who lives in Hurley, who lives right up on 209, is not agreeing with us on this. So we have to convince him that, that this is important, because his recommendation carries weight with the executive of town, so of the county. So we are going to We're gonna ask him to explain why.
Yes, he says because we're supposed to move traffic.
We're a-
not
he-
such a highway.
He calls it, we are a pass-through,
Right.
as he says.
He's the
No.
DO, he's the DO.
But is Accord a pass through? Is Stone Ridge a pass through?
I'm,
Is Allendale a pass through?
exactly. He classified this section as a pass.
We will make sure that.
Yeah,
This gets solved.
Yeah, I'm just saying like, the questions that.
Yeah.
What do you say was very
Thank you.
facetious, okay?
Thank you. I'm all for it.
Okay, schoolhouse road zone designation, so I will contact the principal.
I still think that we ought to look at the resolution, because the resolution adds the fact, our resolution that we passed originally did not have that specifically designated as the evacuation route. So I feel like we should go ahead and look at that and update it and then move it forward, because I think the fact that that's the evacuation route holds a lot of weight.
Yes.
And personally, I'd love to see us go up to, I've said this before with the committee, go up to 25-mile-an-hour speed limit in the town of Hurley.
I mean, my mother came to a meeting and commented that in 1959, she couldn't get from Walnut Street to the Hurley School on foot, and her parents sent her to parochial school instead. Okay, and that hasn't been resolved yet in this town. That's insane.
That's what the safety committee and all of us are gonna do.
Yes.
We're gonna solve it.
Okay. All right, so we will have for the next town board meeting, we will have a resolution to the DOT and to the county to lower the speed limit on 209, 40 miles an hour, just like in Stone Ridge, just like in Ellenville, just like in town of Rochester, and then also to lower the speed limit on Main Street to a reasonable. Now, they have already, when I spoke to them about lowering the speed limit on Main Street, their response was no. All right, so, maybe what we'll do is we'll invite them to come down Main Street and one of us run them down.
We can invite them with the Ulster County Historical Society.
Okay,
I mean, do we have a way to re-annex these as a town road and go after the county for the funding to switch our sales tax funding? You know, next time that sales tax agreement comes to the table, maybe we should play hardball. You know, like we're upset about this. This is wrong.
Yep.
Okay, and to have a county legislator stand here and tell us that sidewalks are expensive over the lives of our children was really out of line, I felt.
I also spoke to the school resource officer, John Kurz, and he tells me that how dangerous it is during the evacuation. How they have to walk over 209, how they have to go, that way the kids are frightened to death.
This is why we need to fix schoolhouse and Main Street.
Yeah.
Well, there should be, my opinion is the bridge should have a sign, red light ahead. There should be a light at Wine Coop and a light at Russell Road that are combined action. And so then that's an intersection, even though it's not a straight intersection, that's an intersection that you can get through, or you can go straight through, so that we're not a pass-through town. We get our respect as Accord and Ellenville and Stone Ridge, they all have lights, you know, and they need to sign the bridge with a remote that says that there's a red light, just like they do when it crests a hill or other things like that. And we need the speed limit lowered, I think at least when you're approaching the bridge.
Yeah, I spoke with Dave Corrigan and we definitely have work to do to convince him. So we have to think of, the approaches.
One of the suggestions,
All the town signs a petition, right? Yeah, they all sign, and everybody in the town signs a petition. They can't ignore that.
right, one of the suggestions you made is making a left-hand turn off of 209 to
And
Russell
turn
Road.
lanes, at least
Turn
make
lane.
some turn lanes.
And he was kind of like,
That one he didn't shut down right away.
I just had one other thing. I've been living in this area for a long time here, and on Route 28 between 375 and where Hobo Deli is, the speed limit was 55 miles an hour there all the way through here, and there were many accidents. People making left-hand turns going to Hobo Deli. Tremendous amount, a lot of fatalities going on there. The people in the area of Kingston and Hurley, others petitioned the state to put a traffic light right by Hobo Deli. This is back in the 1980s. They refused. to do that, saying it would cost $1 million to install a traffic light in that area. What they did instead was lower the speed limit to 45 miles an hour. And guess what happened to the traffic accidents? It went way down. So we have proof that this happens by lowering the speed limit. You are going to do this kind of thing. You had pictures of those cars in the ditches there. I spoke to one of the drivers there. He was forced off the road. It wasn't like he just drove off the road. He was forced off the road on that one, the pickup truck right there. You know, and he was forced over by a speeding car, I should say.
Why does 28 mean 4 lanes? In traffic circle to 375, they can make a turn lane
Of course.
and make it 3 lanes.
Well, the reason being is because that's sensible.
Because, well, they do it on other roads. I got pictures of them. So you have a 3rd lane in the middle and they turn to the lights only.
I hear you. We've actually,
Example is, Motel 19.
right, what we actually tried to do,
They don't need 4 lanes.
right, what we actually tried to do is have a turning lane going into the rail trail on 28th. And they refused.
Look how much it costs
I mean, I
to maintain that 4-lane section.
I hear you.
I think that they should put a roundabout at 375.
Oh,
You
I
have
think
to
that
go
would
through
calm
the
traffic. And
Slow
then
down
I think
traffic.
that they all the way back to the rail trail to Jersey barrier, the whole thing, so you can't make left.
Yeah.
You know, because that rail trail.
Yeah, okay, all right, let's go further on. Okay, Joy's Lane update. I have the record here of Joy's Lane with the speed hump that was put in there by the highway department here. And the average speed limit right now on Joy's Lane with the speed hump there is 18.3 miles. 18.3 miles. We have now sent this data sheet to Bernier and Larios to design speed humps on that. The suggestion being made is to have 3 speed humps put on Joy's Lane. All right, Mike Schultz, well, I'm gonna speak to Dennis tomorrow, Dennis Larios, about approving this real quick, get this thing done. So we can get the speed humps in sometime in August, get them in there, so they can at least sit and cure during a hot summer more or less going through. So this is gonna happen going through. I know that Debbie and the safety committee also got us, and Wendy Trojak also got us a bunch of signs, that speed signs that Mike Schultz has put up, I guess one on Russell Road and one on Pine Street. Put it there. Now, the idea of doing these speed signs is the first thing we think that's happening, they're gonna go dark. All right, and they're gonna record. They're not gonna flash what the speed limit is. They're gonna go, but it's a speed limit sign above, I should say. But they're not gonna tell them what the speed is. It's gonna go dark, so we can collect data like this. And then the next week, it's gonna go live. They can see all that. We can collect data this way to show the county that we need help with all this.
And we chose those roads because they're town roads. And we chose to go with a couple town roads first. Eventually, we have the opportunity to actually keep these for some period of time.
I think we
So
keep-
we'll move them,
think
I
we can
know,
keep them.
maybe keep them forever. But we're gonna, we'll move them around. We'll do like 2-week periods on different roads. We just have to work with the county. We have to actually tell them Russell and Pine.
Russell and Pine.
We have to just get them, the county to turn them on when we move them in a location, so we just have to coordinate with the county.
And I tell you something, we are getting somewhat cooperation from the county with these speed signs. I see that going on. They're listening.
I also will point out that I have seen a tremendous amount of sheriff activity at Russell Road and especially at the crosswalk with the, rail trail. The other day, there were 2. They had somebody pulled over coming out of Russell and somebody going in towards Russell. So the fact that Wendy and I went into that safe start to summer, and we talked about the fact that we have no enforcement, and that's so key to the whole thing. The sheriffs are really starting to turn out and help us. So if anybody does, I want to make sure everybody understands what they told me is if we have problems like that, we need to pick up the phone as neighbors and community members, pick up the phone and call the sheriff's department, especially in this next month or so when they're in this program, they will come out and help us.
It's amazing though, when we spoke to Sheriff Juan Figueroa a few months back about enforcing like on Zandorf. his response to me was, we don't have enough manpower. Ever since we started going with Debbie and with Wendy on this, and the safety committee on this whole thing, they found manpower. I've seen many, sheriff's vehicles, besides state trooper vehicles, on Russell Road, on Zandville. I actually saw one, hiding in the cemetery. So like, I guess making a lot of noise.
And I also talked to the state police, one of the state police troopers, and they said the same thing. They will come out and help us, especially since they're right in Hurley, have good access to both ends of Hurley. So.
Yeah,
Yeah, just part of the safety committee.
I think it makes sense for you to put the signs on the town roads first. I totally understand the logic of that. I'm hoping that one can be put on Hurley Ave within the historic district, because it's clear to me, or it seems to me anyway, that the data, the sort of extraordinary data about the speeding on Sandhook really helped drive that response, right? So, and I
definitely will.
Yeah, we talked about Maverick on the West Hurley side as well, but unfortunately it's a county road, so we have to get permission. But
permission to put the signs on?
I believe so,
Yes, you need permission.
because it's not a town road.
Well, the first thing we're gonna ask for, and then put their own signs up there. They have their own speed signs, have them do theirs, and then we can sell it for others. We can request it.
I have one thing to say about 28. I know that's a.
Well, all
Yeah.
right, hold on a second. Can you hold that to the last, public comment? I appreciate it. One last thing about Route 28 by Hobo Deli, when they lowered the speed limit, they also decided to hire 2 new state troopers there to patrol the area, and they ticketed so many cars going there. So, in other words, the amount of money they made up in fines covered their expenses in that aspect of it. So I think this is it's a no-brainer.
Okay.
You got a large agenda, guys, so.
All right, okay. All right, Basin Road, 28 gas station proposal. I just want to read something from the Woodstock Planning Board about this whole thing going through it.
No.
No. You can do that at the public comment later, Mel. At the public.
I'm on the agenda, no?
No. The topic's on the agenda, not you. All right? It says here the following things. This is from Town of Woodstock Planning Board. It says, "Dear Supervisor Bonds and Town Board members, it has come to our attention that Mr. Mel Sedano is presenting to you on June 11th meeting regarding the pending 1105 Route 28 application within our Town of Woodstock Planning Board. These applications have been in process since 2018 with review and several consultations in place and working with the planning board. When a public hearing is scheduled, you will be notified." This is talking about us as a town. "As a contiguous town, a secret determination has not been concluded by the board and consultants as of now. If this will be a positive declaration, you will also be included within the lead agency request. These steps have not been taken yet by the board, as the process has had several revisions throughout the years. We look forward to working with the surrounding towns." So my suggestion is right now that once the planning board comes out with its definitive plan, then we are involved. Then we can do any kind of resolution ourselves to do that. At this point right now, they're not sure what is going on. So until they come out with a determination of what they plan on putting there, then we have a say then at that point. Okay.
There's a resolution in everybody's packet. Mel had circulated to me, that we can read over and decide if we would like to take action on, but realistically,
And I have additional information about.
Well, yeah,
what
yeah, I know.
said.
Okay, let's do that at the next public comment, okay? Okay, the public comment on the Cedar Speedies permit, I think we discussed that. All right,
Yeah, I will, on the website and Facebook page, loudly point people to the number they can call, the
okay,
email address, because it's buried in all the other information. We'll make sure that's front and center.
okay, great.
if we as an agency or as a town no longer have any further,
Any further,
process or anything to do with this.
It's a courtesy to letting the people know. It's a courtesy of this town. You should let the people in this area know. As a courtesy.
The board is not a newspaper.
You know, Tim.
wait, Carol, Okay. All right, next thing, recycling store at the transfer station. Great idea that, there's a lot of material at the transfer station that, may be broken a little bit here and there, that can be repaired and so forth. And so the transfer station employees, they set up a little shop in a sense, not yet, to put these items aside. People can come and either buy them, whatever, take them. I went to a supervisor's meeting and I was told that call your insurance broker. All right. I called the insurance broker, I called the carrier, I called the agent and so forth, and both of them said, you can't do it. You can't have a reuse sector there. And the reason being very simply is if we sell something, a bicycle, for example, and that bicycle is involved in an accident or injury, we are held liable. Now, my question is that New Paltz has a reuse center, and I want to know how they did it. I called them up today and asked them how they got around the insurance, and their response was, I don't know. You know, they referred me to another person, who got referred back to the first person. You know, so I said, okay. So like, I would call the supervisor tomorrow at New Paltz and ask them how they do it. How they did more. I know the fact that Laura Pettit, who's a county legislator, set the program up down in New Paltz. When I mentioned to her at a meeting about this, she gave me no advice what to do, in a sense, or how they did it. So I will speak to hopefully tomorrow the New Paltz supervisor and get figured out how they got around it. There's a lot of items there. We had a meeting today with Greenway at the transfer station also, and there's a lot of violations, so-called violations that we are showing there. All right, and it's not actually like many of these DEC violations, but it's violations that occur there that will not allow us to get any kind of grants to go through there. So we are in the process now working with Greenway and to get them to clean up and have the violations, the so-called violations, removed, so we can apply for grants to the transfer station. Okay. Transfer station brush fees. This again, I was going to talk a little simple like this. This is from Mike Schultz, because he's the one that takes care of grinding the brush up and pushing the brush back. What's happening basically is we have to sit down with the town board here and figure out new fees, because the fees that we are charging does not cover the cost of the brush removal. And we are paying thousands of dollars to get brush removed and to grind them up, send them to Okra, where we, in a sense, are subsidizing. Most of the brush that comes into the transfer station are from contractors, mostly contractors out of the town. And what they are paying and fees here does not at all cover any of the costs that we are incurring on this kind of thing. So in a sense, we are subsidizing contractors who don't necessarily live in the town of Hurley.
With taxpayers.
Taxpayer money.
And there's a very specific prohibition in New York State on using taxpayer dollars to benefit a specific group or specific. It needs to be even across the whole town, otherwise.
So why are you letting non-residents use the program?
We have to discuss that. We have to
Yes,
discuss that.
that was-
And this
That was
is what,
enacted under a prior administration.
this is, in other words,
Right, but they're using the process.
I know. Hold on. Yeah. You know what it is? Like, I just got all the bills from Mike Schultz, how much it costs, the town to take care of the brush there. And now we're actually, looking at all the brush fees that we got in and compare them, see what's going on. And, suggestion being made, and this is my suggestion to the town board, that we start doing brushes. You know, since it comes from well, the residents is a different story, commercial ones.
I thought commercial, I mean, they're letting commercial, my understanding was the commercial, just like a commercial contractor can't bring refuse, they have to go to Okra. I thought that no commercial contractors were supposed to be bringing.
Let's put it this way, the amount of brush that's coming in there from, people, whatever.
I don't think that, I don't think that there's it probably just have to be a policy statement by the board to say. that
Yes.
I mean, my
no commercial
feeling on this
contractors.
would be that we accept brush during just certain, at both the transfer station and then also the traditional brush pickup during a window each year, and not have open-ended year-round brush collection. And that would solve this whole commercial thing with, like, great, if they want to come once during the week that we're open to brush, whatever, but like generally they need to be over after that.
we used to have, we used to have to allow it, I'm not dealing with stuff, but I mean, if there was a major storm that came through, then we would shift again, but my understanding, we were not supposed to be accepting commercial or,
We're not supposed to.
so I would just say that.
Yeah,
That's a basic statement that's made and that's.
All I'm saying is like, we don't even know, if it's commercial, if it's a resident, we don't know. I mean, the only.
We would know because it's a repeat person and it's not a, I mean, it's.
Yeah. I hear you.
It's a person
So
with a
this
big truck,
something-
not somebody who's.
This is something we'll talk about, and I will get, clarification on this a little better. Okay, the next thing, supplanting aqua caliche code. This is, again, this came from Mike Schultes. So far, we have actually,
Mike, before we talk about this, I want to talk about the fact that he's trying to charge us back for the last 2 years of product removal, because I feel that would affect how I feel about this next.
all right,
Could you clarify who you're speaking about?
Mike Schultz,
Michael Phillips,
the highway super.
the highway superintendent. This is the matter for executive session? I don't
no,
know.
it's not executive session. All right, what it is, Mike Schultes sent me a voucher for like $13,000, his cost to handle the brush, more or less. And what basically he wants the transfer station, which collects the fees, to wind up paying for this, $13,000. He's frustrated because, this voucher was kicked around in 2022 and in 2023, nothing was being done about it, and going through there. And so what he's saying basically is that the transfer station is collecting all these fees. He is paying the cost. He's paying the cost for, having his men do the brush, the grinding of the brush, paying of the grinder, paying for the fuel, and paying for bringing the grinded brush over to the county, more or less. And his total was $13,000.
Well, and it's, Mike, some of those, you're saying it's his cost. He's billing us at like the FEMA contractor rate. He's not billing us at cost.
No,
He's before him get paid.
he submitted them.
Well,
he
I don't
submitted them.
see, in there, I see a $2,600 voucher from 2022. I see nothing from 2023. And then I see this new latest $15,000 bill. So what I'm, like, this seems like mainly stuff is, like, it's not, you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's not, I don't see like the vouchers from the previous years that have a projected stamp.
No, what it is here, I have a voucher for $15,000. This is dated and the invoices for 2023. And then there's one for
What's the amount for 2023?
$15,425.
That's 2024 on Mike. That's like 4 days ago.
No, I know that, but this is the voucher that was sent. This is the voucher that was given last year. He just reissued it. All right, and, again, this is the, well, he has a whole statement here from January 1st of 2023 to 12/31/2023, showing all the things that he spent on clearing the brush and doing that kind of thing. All right, and then there's a voucher here for $2,600, and this is for
2022.
This is 2022. These are the vouchers that were submitted prior.
Claim to be submitted.
Well, it was submitted.
You remember?
I
this?
remember Michael telling me he's submitting these vouchers, and they were never presented to the full board.
From an accounting standpoint, generally, you do have to allocate it to the proper budget line. So if highway is a separate taxing entity in a sense. So if these costs are being incorporated into his budget, he does legitimately
Yes.
have the right to, and should ask that you move out of the general fund back into the highway fund to reimburse him for his costs. Whether I don't know whether he's inflating his hourly rate or whatever, but anyway. But, well, by the time you add in all of the payroll, and that's a Wendy question, but truly, those are the types of adjustments that you, as a board normally would be making. I mean,
So that's
I
an
would
hourly
ask
rate for a truck.
I would ask Quigley and. But it's a legitimate, it's a legitimate way of.
Well, I understand that, but I also like, why are we relitigating these prior years? I mean, I think it's fair.
Because you feel that this board is more generous, not generous, much more friendly to the highway department.
Doesn't mean you have to.
I understand that.
Relitigate prior years. I think we just need to focus on the 2024 expense for brush. And I guess come to an understanding that this is something that is charged back and, you know, that we need, I mean, like, in the warrant at the beginning of the year, there were rates for the highway department, and those rates don't match that. So, like, why is this?
Okay. So I guess we have to have a discussion on this.
Yeah, I think further discussion is warranted, right? At some point, we have to have discussion.
On top of everything else, like, I mean, this voucher had just come before the board. I mean, we haven't had a chance to review it.
It just came today.
Exactly, so this shouldn't be dealing with this now. We need an opportunity to really look and study, figure out what's going on here before we start talking. I mean, you guys know what's going on, but I don't know.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah, what I will do is I'll make this voucher available to the town board.
Well, you have to bring us all up to speed on what's.
Well, I wasn't, I just brought that up, and all
Yeah.
that discuss. Okay. All right, next thing is, supplanting aqua for leachate pools back there. As I was saying, that we've had so far like 43 leachate pools since the beginning of the year, at $285 a pole. That's $11,000 right there that we have spent. Suggestion made was, why don't we buy our own tanker, a used tanker? I was told somewhere around $20,000. We can get us a used tanker. We can do it ourselves more or less and save the $285 every time. We've had 43 pulls so far. Most likely, once September comes around, snow and rain and so forth, we're gonna have equal number of pulls. So right then and there, in 1 year, we're gonna spend close to $20,000 in leachate pulls. However, last year, in 2023, we spent $75,000 in leachate pulls.
So the idea is to buy like, what, a 20-year-old truck for $10,000, and then we have to pay the maintenance on this truck, take it to the
Highway department.
and then, right, this would
We do
become
the
part of the highway department,
Yeah.
and then they would be giving us vouchers for this as well. For 200, how much is the vouchers to the highway department gonna be?
It's not gonna balance.
Yeah.
It's not gonna balance.
It was just a suggestion being made. And so basically what basically is that, Mike Schultz is gonna get later on more details.
If we had a better proposal where the highway department wanted to buy a tractor, truck tractor we're talking about, and a tanker trailer, okay, and they had somebody with a Class A with a hazmat license to drive it, I would be more for that, because then they could also, you know, haul equipment with that same tractor for the highway department. Versus, you know, like with a low boy or whatever.
I mean, I'm just,
Versus,
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, this is a bigger discussion about equipment needs of the highway department.
Right.
As it fits in, and if he's trying to add this, but then push brush off on us, like, I'm trying to kind of understand what's going on here.
I hear it. So, okay. All right, the next one is the cannabis. All right, have you all looked at the comments made by Bonnie Franson, cannabis issue here? There were, yeah, I have asked, Bonnie Franson, to clean this whole thing up and put in all kinds into the, instead of putting a red lighting in there, put it into the actual document more or less. Yeah. And so I'm waiting on this to get this coming through. Tim brought up some questions about the odor and not odor.
Well, let me just explain what I'm. So there's like the time limit of the, you know, we need to make the decision, basically what she calls our, you know, she can boil this down. But we actually, as a board or the zoning task force, someone has to make a decision. What's the time limit, or whether it can or cannot be established? She just points that out. The regulations for the town to regulate whether or not the architectural integrity of the building when it's located in that storage, we might want to add a requirement for that. So we need to make decisions, traffic control, odor, the proposed use should be the ground floor of the building, the county should consider whether that the use in a standalone facility if this is required or other retail uses, security required, it may be required to be a standalone facility. So there's a lot of decisions that are being asked for before we can just send this letter and boil it down. So I think we have to make decisions on all of these, you know, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and all the way to Q. So, and whether marijuana is going to be a special use or not of a facility or a use by right in a certain zone. And we need to decide all of those things before we can just kind of push this back to bounds.
All right, so when do you want to decide on all these things?
Up to the board of the body.
Well, how about this thing? How about, if we look at these recommendations she has here again, and, you know, maybe at the next board meeting, go through each one of them now that we have a better looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody needs to like have like what they think for each one.
Yeah, I've highlighted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I mean, every one of these is there's some kind of a decision to be made or not. You know, like making no decision is a decision too, but we leave things, you know, up to falling into gaps and holes, and then we're gonna go down some of the roads we've been with other types of developments in town, all those sorts of things. I mean, this is very comprehensive, where she's pointing out all the pitfalls of this.
Okay, so let's table this, well, we are gonna table this for next time, and then we'll get, comments on each of these, recommendations come through. I also submitted, you know, examples of secret actions, type 1, type 2, and unlisted. This is how they get familiarized what is necessary going through it.
Right, because this, she also says it's not
Not necessarily.
listed whether it can't be both type 2 and an unlisted action.
Okay, all right, so we'll hold this off to next time, and we'll get comments and.
If the board, you also may by then have Ulster County Planning Board comments, because it'll be on their agenda tomorrow.
Okay, SPCA fee schedule. It is, when dog warden comes in there and, you know, takes a stray dog in and so forth from town early, houses it, or whatever has to do with it. And even if it's a dog that has an owner attached to it, you know, what happens basically is we, town, get footage for the bill. All right, and what SPCA charges us $85, pick up the dog. They then charge us for a redemption fee. For other things, they also charge us for $25 a day. That is, if they have to house the dog. And meanwhile, the owner of the dog, when they notify the owner of the dog, the only thing they have to pay for is a license if it's missing there or rabies shot. We get footed with this bill here, and I'd like to see us not get footed with this bill here. The chief investigator, Christopher West, said that we should change our ordinance on this because our ordinance says that we only allow 1 day of the dog being held at the SPCA, when the state says it has to be 3 days minimum or 3 days maximum, or the contract that we signed, which I can't find in the contract, says that we have a 5-day with SPCA. So he would like for us to go through and
5 days or what?
of housing the dog until they find the owner, or until
And
it's
then what,
resolved.
I mean, the SBA is not, it's not a kill shelter, so like what?
Then it's adoption.
Up or down?
It's up to adoption that way. All right, and again, so like in other words, we actually collect only, according to our ordinance, we only collect $10 in impound fee, while we had that $85.
So we have a $25, the code has a $25. That's all. So, and for one night, we had one dog, one night, 160. And our code only allowed. So we collected the 160. But the reality is that I brought this to my attention and said, we need to revise our fee schedule. And I think that in terms of the clerk's office, because we're seeing some departments, but there are other fees that are substantially MIA and or, you know, lower than other towns. So I would just, if there's a board member who'd like to work with me, I'd like to tag team with somebody just so that when it comes back to the board, you guys are all familiar with the proposal and why. And then at the same time, we'll make suggestions for amendments to the code, which would update this piece. But normally, at the beginning of your year, we can set the code and we can modify it unless Matt disagrees, where it just references the annual fee schedule. And then what you do is at the beginning of the year, you set your fees. So the fee shouldn't be in the code, it should be just referenced to the fee schedule that's adopted at the organizational meeting or updated.
Most towns.
That makes sense. So that's a.
So we just have to amend the fee schedule?
Yes.
Right, so then you would have to just amend the fee schedule, but right now, in order to override the current codes, we would amend the laws, it'd be a public hearing. It would just sort of be a blanket umbrella modification of several sections of the code.
You all have in the packet the contract, the SBCA.
What? Okay, great. Yeah, because I mean, that's a substantial difference between. Oh, yeah. And then if it was multiple nights, it would have been, so it would have been 210 instead of 25. Great. Thank you, Tim.
Okay. All right, next one, increase the average median income for early recreation scholarship. All right, the last two board meetings ago, we approved 30% of the AMI. And we have so far no applications coming through. The recommendation is to increase it. On the resolution, I left it blank what the percentage is. Some have said that 70% or 80%. I'd like to get this resolved, so.
I mean, like COVID rent relief was at 80%. I mean, like, even at 100%, this is still the poorer half among us.
Yes.
So like,
Yeah, I would say 80%.
I mean, hopefully we get applications.
We want kids to go.
We want kids to go.
We want kids to go.
Yeah.
They don't have any stuff.
Right.
They're holding spots. Yeah.
Yeah, they're holding 5 spots for us. They have a program now with 60 children in there. They're holding 5 spots for us, more or less. So I'd like to see, let's get those 5 kids there. You know any kids? All right, so recommendation is for 80%.
I think maybe you can go higher, go to 100% of AMI. I mean, you just get 5 kids in the camp this year, and then we can see what the incomes were and peg it, because the worst thing we want to do is then another week from now, still have no applicants.
Tim, what's the AMI number? You know it off the top of your
It's like
head.
in the 80s.
84,000 something?
Yeah, so people making less than 84, which like parents with a kid living in Hurley, which is a community of mainly single-family homes, right? Like the economics of raising children on less than 84,000, like, that's not who's like, maybe some, but like, I think we need to raise it just to, if we're gonna want to give this money away, I think we just need to give it away.
Yeah, do it soon. Yes.
And we'll just take the first 5 people that will make under 100%. And then we're gonna get the incomes with the applications, and we can see like, okay, if we did it at 80 for next year, like, okay, we could go with 80 next time.
All right.
But 30 was, there's nobody's living in Hurley on that. It's just not.
How the kid. All right, so well,
I'll
let's
make
see.
the motion that we change it to 100.
I'll second it.
All right, amend it, right?
Amended. All right. Well, okay, so we have 100%.
We did it 30% last time. So we have no application.
Yeah, but you have a new resolution. It's a completely different
Yeah,
resolution.
It's right here.
Yeah, I know. It's a completely different. So just
Oh,
focus on
okay.
number 1. Make a resolution.
The resolution.
That.
Not in one.
100%,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so, I have to read it?
No.
Oh, good, thank you. All right,
Well,
so,
you could read it, short.
We'll have to vote still.
So you're moving that. I move that we approve the resolution and increase the average median income for the Hurley Rec Summer Camp scholarship eligibility, and we fill in that blank with 100%.
Right.
We need a second.
Wait, no, Diana made the motion, Mike seconded.
Any discussion?
How did the people end up knowing this? Like the town people?
I will tell them.
Okay. Because I mean, didn't camp start?
Yes.
It has
So I
to.
mean, if you're gonna get 5 kids, it's gotta go quick.
That's why we're tonight.
But I believe they do it in sessions too, like
They do have
you sign
sessions,
up for 3 weeks or 2 weeks or something, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to do the whole summer, you just break it up.
Okay, here we go. Discussion among us? No. All in favor of 100%?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I will tell the world tomorrow morning.
Hurley Heritage Society, annual $1,000. I got an email from the president of the Hurley Heritage Society saying that in 2006, a resolution was passed that the town of Hurley donates, gives, whatever, $1,000 a month, I'm sorry, $1,000 a year to Hurley Heritage. I spoke to, at that time, the supervisor, which was Mike Schultes. He said in 2006, he did give $1,000 there. I have not found the resolution. I looked at all the budgets from that point on. I have not seen $1,000 given at all to Hurley Heritage Society. So we have to make a decision. What is it we want to do? Do we want to have a resolution to give $1,000 to a private corporation?
Is this a one-off or is this
This
something
is
that's
yearly, this
recurring?
is annually. They said, in the letter in the email I got, they said that a resolution was passed 2006 stating that the town of Hurley would give $1,000 a year to the Hurley Heritage Society. I have not found the resolution. I have requested from the president, she has a copy of the resolution. I have not heard back from her. And I wanted to speak to John Kerry, see if that was happening in his tenure. And being on the board when John Kerry was a supervisor, I don't really recall giving $1,000 to in fact, us giving $1,000 as a donation to the 50th anniversary, to me, was the first time we gave money to that society.
I mean, I think it sounds to me like if they're making a request, that sounds like a complete.
Well, it was a request to follow the resolution.
Well, but we have no resolution.
I'm
Saying there's one
searching.
from 2006.
So,
But then that, it says I can't find it. There's no minutes. You look through it. I had Jeremy look through it. We couldn't find it. I'm just saying, so do we want to start?
Do they need the money? Like, is this?
Well, they
Or
do
they
what
just-
they do up in town, right?
We're not. Wendy and others, we're gonna stay with it, it seems like it so far. And so, we've actually ordered, as the town board has requested last time, to go get the time clock going through. I don't know if we, did resolution to get that.
Talk about.
Talk about it.
We should have made the resolution.
Okay,
that's-
so I will have a resolution. Okay,
yes,
this,
that's fine.
yeah, this is due on, when, it's coming in August, right?
That's
Coming
our
in
plan
August.
to have it set up sometime in August. It's gonna
The,
take some time.
in fact, the, $1,500 course expires on August 4th. So I'll have a resolution to accept the $1,500 and we'll get that going.
You can't trust that people are actually physically there.
All right, Wendy, you want to talk about the next thing? Employee refunds based on issue on reduction?
Sure. We brought this up, during the research that Jim Quigley and I have been doing for the past, we've dug a little bit into 2023, but mainly 2024, we noticed that, any employee that was set up in ADP after August of 23 was being charged for Family Leave Act. As a government entity, you have the right to, obviously not charge that because we provide each, full-time and part-time employee with accruals. So therefore, if, someone in your family is sick or yourself, you have the ability to use that time.
So what we have done, is gone through all of the records that we could find from August of 23 to current. And, first, the fee has been stopped. And second, we compiled the list of people who had the fee taken out, and I produced a voucher. Unfortunately, they had to be separated into 23 and 24. And each employee will be receiving a check. It took some time just to pull everything together, and I want to say there's roughly maybe 45 different vouchers that had to be cut. You guys have them to sign. And, as soon as they're signed, I'll be processing the checks. They range in $1 to, I think the highest is like $200. It's based on your salary, and it's a percentage sent by the government. So moving forward, no one will have the amount taken out, and the fees will be fixed for the beginning of 24 and anybody in 23 from August.
So,
Anybody who was set up after August of 23. Unfortunately, the template changed for ADP. Nobody caught it until Jim and I started looking into it, and we've stopped.
Thank you.
Good catch, good catch.
You're welcome.
Okay, the next thing is the Oakland County Solar Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Grant. Tony Bonavis is like
I'm gonna go
spearheading.
with 5 tonight, so. It's the humidity. Ulster County.
You wanna go to the,
Just stand for the microphone.
this way you have.
Yeah,
so
the
you can
recording
copy up
won't
there.
pick it up.
Okay, Ulster County has a grant 50/50 match to build new charging stations, or in our case, replacement charging stations. We started that grant process, and part of the reason is that the current charging station is a 30-amp station, and it takes about 24 hours to charge the car, so it's not being used a great deal. So people are not coming in from out of town, and they're not using it in town. I think probably the only use is the town of Hurley's little bolt that's getting charged over there, when Irma uses it to go do whatever she does. So as I said, we started the grant application. The total cost for this project, if we didn't have any rebates or any grants, would be about $20,000 for a new charger. This charger goes from a 30-amp charger to an 80-amp charger, and it would make charging a lot faster. You could do an hour charge and get like 60 miles. If we wanted for a high-speed charger, they're $30,000 a shot. Anyway, how the cost breakout goes for this thing, I said the total cost would be $20,000. Central Hudson has a rebate program where they pay 90% of the installation. So our, as part of Hurley, would be 10%. And the consultant plug in up in Malaysia, they've given us a quote. What would ultimately happen here would cost the town of Hurley about $5,000 total, and the other half would have to come from the county. So you guys have to decide if you want to do this to replace that charger. As far as what's required, we need a resolution at some point. It can be after the fact. We also have to do secret, but I think it would be an unlisted action because they're just taking out one charger and putting in a new charger. So
Type 2 replacement.
essentially, you're getting a $20,000 charger for $5,000. Now, this is still not a super fast charger, but it's cutting the charge time down by 90% as far as the old.
It's what, 80 amp?
This is 80 amp, the other one's 30 amp. And the breakers have to be replaced over there. There's two 40 amp breakers in the box. They gotta put in two, I think, 80 amp breakers. As far as the construction, they just have to run a new line from the existing box into the new charging station. So the people up in Malaysia plug in, they will do all the replacement work for us. And we talked to those guys on the phone yesterday, Mike and I. This charging thing also was costing the town money. We're paying the electric bill, and we're not getting any revenue.
We are getting revenue. You got 57 cents.
If you want to call that revenue, that's revenue. According to Dean, the guy we spoke with, he indicated we should get some revenue with it. Now, it's probably not going to offset the electric bill, but at least we would get some revenue, and we get maybe more use out of it, because that thing is sitting down there and it's not doing anything.
And it's got two plugs on it, right?
This is a 2-plug charger, one unit with 2 plugs.
And then we would also, like, when the bolt isn't charging, we shouldn't be blocking the space with the bolt.
Of course.
Yeah, that's.
There's a sign that says, this is not a parking spot.
Right.
Yeah.
And part of this deal is that this unit will go on the grid now, so people driving around, they would be able to check their.
See it in their app. Right.
Yeah, on their apps, on their smartphone, they know that it's there. So you're placing a unit that's not doing really much of anything other than taking space for a new unit that's hopefully gets some more use for not a lot of money. You guys on the board have to decide if you want to go forward. We can put a resolution in after the fact. The application is complete, ready for Mike's signature to be faxed over to the county.
We just leave the decision.
The resolution can be done whenever you want it.
It'll be done afterwards.
And secret can be done after.
And you need $5,000.
And $5,000, it's gonna cost us, I would say there, on that, 5,400.
Did you
On the
say
back
they
page.
extended the deadline?
Yeah, the
Extended
deadline was
deadline.
extended on this, by the way, which is
July 19th.
And Mike and John and I met on this, and originally we wanted to put a charging station up in West Hurley. And we looked all over the place, and we talked about the DEP site on Route 28, and we looked at this place here, this fire department, and also the Hannaford, and we couldn't find anything. The DEP site is going to be under construction, so that's not going to be usable. So when Mike got a new email saying that this thing was extended, he came back to me and said, let's go with the application. We're hoping that the town board will approve it.
I just have one question. Which line item would this come out? Where would this come out?
I have to look. I have to look at this.
Well,
Is this, are these grants for municipalities only or like?
Yeah.
This is municipalities.
Yeah, they're not for private people.
Right, well, I'm just thinking like because of, like for public access here in West Hurley, like Antwerp, but like
The problem you get into some of these parking areas, especially,
people don't want the space tied up.
well, not only that, you may have a liability issue on private property. Somebody's gonna come over there and say, what happens if somebody gets hurt on Hannaford's property? Are they gonna want to put these kinds of things on those pieces of land where if a municipality that changed the whole legal perspective?
Well, one thing also, which is really good, this is a 5-year warranty.
Yeah.
I
Because you had some issues with the current one, correct?
we have major issues. The one we have now is, 4 years old. I should say old. 4 years old, came in 2021 on this kind of thing. And, the company that we deal with, ChargePoint, is not very user friendly. I've been talking to them, Wendy's been talking to them, and, we get nowhere with them. It turns out that ChargePoint is the one that's going to do the new one here, but to deal with with
Plug-in will take care of the maintenance. for it.
They're a dealer, sorry.
right.
They're a provider of charging. So as far as grant goes, this is about a 20 million grant application to a lot of them, that take days.
so I just have one question. So you're saying this is an 80-amp charger?
Yeah.
What's the next step up?
I don't know, but
Well, it's above level 2, so then that would be what's considered a fast charger.
yeah, that's.
Which is like what the ones at the supercharger, like what Tesla does.
Right. Okay.
Those are level 3 chargers. They're $30,000 just for the unit.
This one's 20,000, right?
No, the unit is, this unit is, no, the total cost of this is $20,000.
With
The
installation.
unit itself
The
is
unit
third.
itself on a supercharger, a
It's
fast
third.
charger, is $30,000 for the unit, not including.
And then you have to have the power for it.
Yeah.
Yes, and we got 200 amp service in Hurley, and the guy, Dean, the guy we've been working with, I don't know what you need, I don't know, but I think you're looking at maybe 400 amps for one of those things.
The box, I mean, like, you can hear the boxes on those things, like, at the picture, really, you can hear the power getting. It's like, there's noise, so, that's all I'm hearing.
Again, I don't know what the hookups are on these things are. I guess these are kind of a standard hookup, right, Mike?
It is.
Not like a Tesla hookup.
No, this is a regular hookup.
Somewhat town electric vehicles convenience with an added, this is town electric vehicle convenience with an added,
Right.
we can maybe get a little bit of like, revenue capture back.
Yeah, so that's the question that I have.
It's going to the Hurley Mountain Inn and wants to plug it in. And we have a parking lot that's not heavily utilized.
What is the revenue? What, the line you're talking about?
For this one, the new one.
No, no.
Oh.
So we're earning money from 57 cents, you said? Or
67 cents.
67?
Total.
Total, so far. So what's gonna happen when we change this? the assumption is that there's gonna be more traffic.
Well, the thing is, though, the one we have, the one we have right now, it takes 24 hours to get like 80% charge. So in other words, you know, what happens, what GPS is gonna do is put this on an app that people at the thruway can come and whatever can do this kind of thing. And for 1 hour sitting there, you get 50, 60 miles on this kind of thing. The one we have right now is so slow, it's incredible that, you know, when Irma charges the boat fare, it may take 2 days.
So what I don't understand the revenue generation
We get a percentage of her charge.
The thing is, he
Per
said,
kilowatt.
he said it was something like 20%.
They take as a commitment and we get it at 80% of the rate that we
And
set. We actually set the rate on the unit.
Yes.
The town.
We get it.
So, yeah, this is what I'm trying to understand. I don't understand
Well,
why we make money.
When we talked to Dean yesterday, he said that he'll take 20%. And we take the 80% of the revenue coming through there.
But you have to see how this all works out when the dust settles as far as the revenue.
Don't do it. Then don't do it for money on it. Yeah, then do it for this, do it for households and classes. Do it.
Right. And, you know, and this thing can be, basically, I said, it's gonna be advertised on all the EV cars, like they have this app on their phone.
Right, so you got it.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, when
I don't think this is a great idea. I just don't have any understanding. I don't know.
The town's convenience is being upgraded, like,
Yeah.
so us charging the whole and any future electric vehicles.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the main benefit, in my opinion, the main benefit. And the ancillary thing is the traveling public, if they need a charger, it's available. It's not part of the whole.
Maybe they'll stop in Hurley and look at the.
things are going slow.
Great.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tony. That's a good
All
one.
right, so let me ask you a question here. We can get a resolution set up here. Should I sign the grant?
I ran through something this morning, yeah, I'd like 75% discount.
Why not grant?
It's a good thing to do. I think you'll sign the contract. You want a resolution?
No, it's sending, no, it's sending.
Oh,
no.
sending you in the grant.
It's the grant
Sorry, sorry,
application.
sending you in the
Not the
grant.
contract. Well, here's the thing, Greg, we sign the grant application.
And then you don't
Reject
have
it. We don't want
to
to.
move forward. It's not like a
Okay.
contract. It's an application to see if you qualify and.
Yeah, okay.
Let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. Do I
I
need a
didn't
resolution to
understand.
do that kind of thing? Or better still, well, no, not to sign the grant. Better still, if we get the grant,
Right.
then,
You guys have discussed it. It sounds like everybody's on the same page.
Okay.
you know.
You can send the resolution when you have
And
to sign the
then-
grant.
And then after.
And you also
that, then
see
you
that
can
you follow the
resolution,
script.
where that accepting and executing.
so another resolution to accept the grant.
To sign the plan.
No, to accept the grant.
One.
If you
Once
get
we
it.
We have to get the grant.
Then
It's
it's
just apply.
then
So go ahead and
basically,
apply for it.
so right now you just send in an application.
Right, that's
We'll
it.
cross the other bridge when we
Right.
get to it, and at which point then you'd
Right.
be contractually
Yeah.
accepting and under
I
obligation.
understand that.
And
So
that would go. that's
Part of
The
the
resolution-
application will
the resol-
require a
sorry,
resolution.
1 minute.
Yes.
The resolution right now is to give you,
There's no resolution.
Oh,
Just
well-
authorizing you to sign the
No, wait, hold on a
so
second.
what are we doing?
Wait. We need a resolution to go with the grant application.
You need to, the town board needs to say we are all in agreement that we want to apply for this grant. We're,
Do we need a
Supportive
resolution to
of the
apply for grant?
I don't believe it, now,
that was, it's part of the grant application.
the application itself
No,
requires.
it's not. It's not.
Are you sure? You don't have to-
I have it right here.
Do you have a
You
copy?
need a
of that?
resolution, but it doesn't have to be with the application after. As in Caesar's, it's right in here. It says
All you're asking,
either in process or. it's gonna be-
all you're asking us to do right now, Mike,
Is applied.
is to give you permission to sign the document.
Right.
That's it. That's it, right?
But eventually.
But we don't need that. We really don't need to do
Yeah.
that.
You can apply for a grant.
Right,
Yeah.
And then whether.
Yeah, we have a resolution to accept the grant.
Yeah, so.
So what section of the application are you saying requires,
Kristen,
what section of the application? Because he,
all right, so we don't need a resolution.
No, not.
Not right
for the
now.
grant.
Right,
Probably
okay.
the next meeting.
Yes,
Yeah, next meeting.
And then
Well,
you
no.
send it.
right, okay. All right. All right, the next thing here is justice, audit and control. I'm not familiar with,
As an annual, the Justice Court is required to provide you with a report of their finances, and then you have to say that you've audited it, you accept it. So there's a resolution.
Yes.
It's just it's a standard annual
okay.
for every 6 months. Right.
I move to pass the justice court's audit.
Yeah, second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So be it.
Thank you for having audited the Justice Court.
Okay, the next one is additional members for the Recreation Committee. Diane, you want to do this?
Sure. So they just want to point, do I have to read everybody again? There's only the additional one going. Yes. So this would be Elizabeth Underman for 2031 and alternate Doreen Meyer.
We just have to make a motion to the title of it, right?
So there's multiple different resolutions to appoint members to the Recreation Board, and there will be one member and one alternate.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All,
Makes it a 7-party,
7 and one, and one.
committee, yeah, and an alternate. So great.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So be it. Okay. Wendy left?
Yeah.
All right, next one is a new checking account for Rolling Meadows Lighting District, and by doing so, we have a special, we have to write a check out all the time to, Central Hudson for this lighting district. If we do a new checking account for Rolling Meadows, what we can do is the ACH, it's a quick electronic transfer. Doesn't have to be any kind of checks at all, you know, nothing at all. So that is what we have done, is that we have established another checking account with Back in Green County to allow electronic transfer of the lighting district in Rolling Meadows from Central Hudson.
Do we have to pass a resolution?
No.
You did it already.
Yeah, you're just informing you.
We just informed, yeah, it's already done this way.
Just transfer.
All right, appraisal of Altamont. Okay, the appraisal came back from Altamont. Altamont is the property, a triangle property that is on Altamont Drive and Old 209 in Old Hurley. We have a neighbor wanting to buy the property. The reason being very simply is because we have not taken care of it. In fact, we have not even known that we had this property to start with, and we found out that we own this property. It was bequeathed to the town back in 1986, I should say. All right, and so basically is that we have not maintained it. The many trees are overhanging his property. It's going to cost something like $5,000 for him to, if we gave him permission to go in and, you know, maintain those trees and all that. And instead, he wants to buy the property. So we had to have this appraised, and the appraisal value is $47,000 for this thing. It's a 3/4 thing. I gave the whole document and the appraisal of it to Maggie to look over to figure out exactly, you know, what the value is more or less. Now, when I mentioned the value to potential buyer, it was kind of steep. So my suggestion to him will be basically is that go get it appraised yourself, with whatever it costs, and then we'll see. We'll negotiate. We do have a price of $47,000.
It's a buildable lot.
This is.
It is a buildable lot, and I worked with Brittany. The comparables that the appraiser that the town hired used, none of them were in Hurley. And so Brittany and I went back and found 3 that were in Hurley, and they are very close to the 47,000. And yes, it is a buildable lot. It's got good road frontage. It is a corner lot. So the person would have 2 front yards, but there are restrictions from the donation when it was donated to the town of what could be built on it. It can't have a mobile home. The residence, it can only have a single family home, no accessory uses like an accessory apartment, that type of stuff. It can only be a single family home, and it must be at least 1,200 square feet.
And no chickens.
And no chickens, that's right. No animals other than domestic. So yes, it wouldn't be allowed to have chickens, even if chickens are allowed in that district. So, it is a whole neighborhood. It's the last vacant lot in that development that was created when it was created. And so in discussions with Brittany and looking at the comparables, she said so the estimate to remove the trees is 5,400. That even if the town took that much off the appraisal, that 40,000, in her opinion, based on comparables, would be the bottom line the town should consider. And that would be basically the town eating the cost of the removal of the trees, which the potential buyer is the one that got that estimate. The town could get another estimate on that. So that's
On the tree removal.
yeah, because the estimate came from the person that wants to buy it.
It's like 47K.
47%.
That's what the appraisal.
That's what the appraisal's at.
If the town is going to sell for anything less than what it's appraised, the town is going to really need to justify that. Right. So.
And there are other towns now that if those things are happening. I mean, Marbletown, where they may go and work with Rucco and set up a low-income housing unit. It could also be offered to town employees. I believe you can offer it, they can set it up so that town employees, volunteer firemen, like it can be criteria before you put it out on the open market. But you may really want to look at your options before you.
Well, the thing is, though, the assumption made by the prospective buyer, he thought that was unbuildable, that you can't build on it. And we know now that you can, so this may.
Can we just pay the money to clean up the tree issue so that we start having a problem with the neighbor? Because, that's realistically what we need. That's the first step we need to do. Because he doesn't sound like he wants to look like, now that it's expensive, he doesn't want to buy it. Is that what you're saying?
To be honest with you, he was a little shocked when I told him the value. And he was even more shocked when I told him that it's you can't build on it. Like his assumption was you can't build on it.
Right. So the other thing I forgot to mention that's important is it's got municipal water. So there's no separation of water and septic like with, yeah, private water. Sorry, private water.
Private water.
Yes. Yeah. So it would need a septic, but most lots you need to get Board of Health, you need a separation between the well and the septic. This wouldn't have that requirement. So you have better options of placement.
That's why you have to.
Yeah, exactly. Right, Tim. Yeah.
Altamont that originally was its own system.
Okay. Right. It does have a 20-foot easement for the water company. That's also the other final requirement, but.
What is the plan? What are we doing?
Well, the plan I said so far is I'm going to meet with the buyer. I'm going to give them all the information. And come back and report to you guys.
Okay.
I just want to keep you updated on
I
where
mean,
it's at.
realistically, like the town should be seeking to maximize value for the like whoever wants to buy this, like we can't favor the abutter. Unless Matt knows something different.
No, you do have a duty, the town does have a duty to the taxpayers to maximize value. And also, this is town land is limited. If there are other uses the town has, the town generally would have an obligation to try to pursue those.
Yeah.
Right, especially like a park, maybe it's
People
not
like
realistic,
pocket-
but
like
at
a
least,
pocket park
we should
is over.
consider those options as well.
Well, the
Consider
option-
Something for the town.
Another option is that right now that property pays no taxes. Being sold to somebody else can now goes in the tax roll.
Large surpluses for decades.
You could probably get 90,000 for that.
Well, I haven't told them you can go on it. All right. Okay, the next thing is the old library update, Tim.
Okay, Maggie, I think in your email, look in your email, there should be a plan. Meeting of town in this inbox.
Did you send it to me or to meeting? Oh, good. Ah, look at that. Perfect.
Okay, so if we can
Zoom in. Yep.
zoom in. All right, so we have, all right, so this is the library here, so, right here is the building itself, and then there's like, right now, there's 3 sheds on the site. I think one of them is salvageable, probably move it to town hall, but as far as space on this site, it's limited, so, we're gonna, and like I described before, the first floor of this building is gonna be like a meeting room, basically, you know, for smaller groups, mainly from the community, and then the second floor will be the historian's office. So a lot of those records and things that are stored in town hall will be able to move into this building. The building's basically gonna be gutted because of lead and asbestos concerns in the building. So it will still look the same visually from the exterior. We're waiting on the final results of the feasibility, whether we can reuse the siding that's on the building, or we'll have to put something that's like a close match on the building. Just because of the lead paint and the integrity of the wood that's on the exterior of the building. In keeping with the historic district, I have, right now, he does at the entrance to the front, I have asked him to slide that back into the original position when he does the final plans, just because it seems like the historic district wants us to keep that the way it is from the front, so that it looks the same as it did, you know, in a photo from 100 years ago. But yeah, you'll have a driveway coming in here, and then there'll be 6 spots on the rear, and then driveway going out there. And then you've got this remaining lawn area here. This is gonna be like a nice porch out of the back. And there'll be some nice like windows looking out onto the porch from inside the building, let some light in as well. Because if you remember being in there, anybody that's been in that building, it is the darkest building in town. And so that's gonna bring in some light and some air. And then again, like I mentioned, the ADA guys come up in the front with the ability to come in, use the restroom, and leave, and we can lock off the rest of the building as well. So when there's an event on Main Street, you've got the restroom there. So it's one more place, like during a parade or something, where you can say, hey, just go use the old, you know, go use the old bathroom of the old library, you know, where there's really not any other. The library's not open. There's not any other place. So, and then like I said, this will give a lot of space to those community groups that are using the library right now. You know, that realistically, they're not completely a library use, but there's nowhere else in town that's accommodating them. So like a garden club, a painting club. Like my mother went in there a couple of weeks ago to go get a book and said, oh, she couldn't go in the back room because they were having a painting club in the back room. So this will allow some of those things to be moved over to this facility. Handicap parking will be in the front. This is a parking spot and the appropriate, you know, van loading. So if somebody's in a wheelchair van, they can get in and out of the building. But otherwise, you know, 6 spots in the rear. And then realistically, we understand that the parking is kind of a, you know, if there's a little bit something larger over here, and there's, you know, that there's going to be an agreement between the library district and that, because we've been working closely with the library district on this. So, yeah, does anyone have a question? We haven't gotten that yet. The plan, this feasibility study that we did, we approved $18,000, which included the lead testing, asbestos testing, and meeting with us and the designs from the architect. And then that'll be, you know, we have identified potentially a way to get a grant for this that would cover most or all of the costs. Because right now, like the way that this building sits, it's not, to me, it's not an acceptable way to something that's in the National Historic District to be being handled, which is, you know, we're just allowing it to kind of like rot in place in the public. So we need to either, you know, remodel it and maintain it properly, or we need to get it off our rolls. So I'm for the, you know, turning it into, the, you know, I'm calling it right now the Hurley Heritage and Community Center. So, and it's right up the street from the Heritage Society, so I mean, I think it's just a great, you know, and the meeting room will be great too, because the historian's office will not be open to the public. So if somebody wants to meet with the historian has the meeting room, and we'll also be able to, the town has a lot of like photos and old maps and things, and so the historian can change those out on the walls in that room, which will be really nice, so people can go walk around, and there'll be obviously, you know, open hours for the building is when the historian's there, as well as, you know, when groups are meeting there, they can look at them as well. So, and like on a historic, like the Stone House, they were to come back, like this building would be open on that sort of day. That's all.
Very good.
Any questions?
Are we allowed to-
Oh, no.
Well, I was just wondering about, you know, are you looking at, you know, decarbonizing the
The
building?
town been an energy code that we passed here,
Yeah,
so that it will be, I've already,
the green building standard.
yeah, this will be up to all the green buildings.
And when you said, grants to cover it, so the grants to
All right,
cover
okay, hold on a second, hold on.
renovation work?
Let's hold that on for the public comment at the end.
Or you keep talking about.
Yeah, I just want to do one thing since Kristen's here. I want to thank Kristen, and the Climate Smart Task Force for, you know, for the EV grant that we're getting it, and also for, you know, we now have basically getting more grants because of your work, more or less. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the hard work you and the committee have done. We're very proud of you. People, I'll pass this on to the Climate Smart Task Force coming through. The thing is, though, that through the hard work of Climate Smart Task Force and Kristen Shana, what's happened basically is that we are now eligible for a lot of grants. We have now raised our level, you know, so whether
We're
that's.
now at a 1-star designated clean energy.
Yeah.
One other thing that I wanted to just talk about. I know, but just before I get to the last thing, I don't know if you're aware of this. I just found out myself that we own a cemetery.
We own the cemetery?
We own a cemetery.
We own the cemetery? Which one?
The old Hurley
The old-
Cemetery
Burying ground?
behind
The old
The
burying
side
ground.
from the
behind
library.
Jim Decker, behind Jim Decker's house. Yeah, that old cemetery.
So we have-
I know, but what I'm saying is like, we do something with it? I don't know.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
What exactly are you proposing? That we do with the cemetery?
I know that, I know,
We mow it, it's a historic thing. and we move on.
You can have a ghost story.
that's the only thing I can think of, because, you know, I mean, last record we have of it is it's a deed dated from 1953.
You should, yeah.
I mean, I will go there.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Ghost stories.
All right,
I had friends that lived there, and they used to do the one form, we used to go back there during the Halloween party.
I only have 3 copies. All right, the next thing is the collective bargaining agreement with the town-owned employees. We're very close. I said them all. All right,
You're in the middle of bargaining, so you should not be discussing things, terms that you're going to be negotiating at some point.
no, this is,
So
Oh, okay.
you can review it, give it to the board members, they can review.
that's what I'm doing.
But, you know, things you say may have an impact on.
Yeah, I just wanted to give them okay, I'm done.
Motion to open public comment?
Motion, yes. I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now you're up.
We're gonna keep these to 2 minutes, please.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'll be direct. So this Basin Road convenience store project, the negative adverse impacts are at least 95% on the town of Hurley. On our side, Basin Road. On the other side is Woodstock, which by a quirk of mapmaking, has a project, but, the negative impact don't fall on Woodstock. And what we should know is the internal debates that are going on. The developers are being very aggressive. And what they want is that it be designated a type 2 project under secret. At the type 2, they don't have to consider any environmental problem. So the idea that my farm said we wait till it reaches this point in secret, they are pushing that it never be considered by secret, but that the whole project just be accepted. So does the town of Hurley board want to take a passive wait and see sometime in the future while the actual developers are busy buying dinner and lunch for the Woodstock Planning Board and pushing for this type 2 designation? If that happens, the town of Hurley has no voice and the impact falls on town of Hurley residents. If we're concerned about traffic safety, if this goes through, I had mapped up last time. It's going to be unbelievable. Even Mike mentioned that not only will cars be coming in and out of 28 out of that gas station next to the traffic light, but there are going to be 4 cars aiming to the same direction at high speeds. So it feels like the town of Hurley Board should not shirk its responsibility because a fairly harmless letter from the town of Woodstock back off and allow this project to proceed. Because the town of Woodstock, there are no adverse negative impacts. So they're not thinking about that. The only ones who are thinking about is the town of Hurley. So are we going to shirk our responsibility and just wait at some point in the future? Or are we going to pass a resolution?
No, thank you.
Okay, and I brought resolutions for you all to consider.
We have it.
I'm willing to have it
We have
changed.
it. We have it.
I sent it to you, the other.
We have it.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Thank you, Mel.
And I'm open to changes, but I really hate to see you leave the residents of West Hurley living in this disaster situation. Of course, you got a letter from Woodstock. Tell me what's the downside after the resolution?
Go up to the-
Tony Bonus.
Yeah, on seeker, I don't know about this project, but if the planning board is reviewing this for Hurley, there's gotta be a public.
No,
Woodstock.
Woodstock.
Well, how come he's talking about the impacts on Hurley? What's that?
The parcel is located in Woodstock, but Hurley is adjacent to it, so there would be potential impacts on the town of
Okay, but
Hurley.
then Hurley can be a party to the seeker proceeding in Woodstock.
They will notice, yeah,
Okay,
but
so they-
ultimately, the lead agency cannot be
No,
the
no, no,
town
no, no.
of Hurley Planning Board.
Okay, but Hurley can be part of the proceeding of the seeker proceeding.
Yes, once they start
And if this is a construction project, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a negative declaration. One other quick thing, 209 in Hurley, old 209 is a 65-mile-an-hour Indianapolis roadway. And people come down that road on motorcycles doing 80 miles an hour and cars are doing 70 miles an hour. Because they're nice, straight roads, there's a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. And people talk about lowering speed limits, but you have to have enforcement. That's the story of speed.
Those who get their way and it's declared a type 2, secret back with them.
Did you want to talk? Yeah, go ahead.
Got it. Thank you, thank you.
I had previously asked Diana to bring this up. I've had some people mentioning that 50 Holland Drive has had no care of their property, large total grass, and that's happening in a couple of different areas. And
What number is it?
50.
50.
I just wondered if anybody, also there's one in 9 that has been completely neglected, and did you guys talk about it? Was there any decision made? Or, are we going to? Any relief for the neighbors?
You said that we already have a zoning law on the books.
Is there a draft on the ordinance?
Yes,
I mean,
There is?
I believe there is.
I think
There is, yeah.
I think there is one, but
For general care. I mean.
right, you have to give notice, and I mean,
There's gotta be
there's a whole process for going.
by-
What's the address, the first address yet?
50,
And the other one?
on 209.
I'm not sure the number on those.
Old 209?
Yep. Driving from,
That's on you.
I think it's next to Donna
and
Cudney.
then, I know Phil Snarber talks about one that's on.
The one on
Circle
Drive. Oh, yeah.
And it says back.
There's actually two on Central Drive.
Yeah.
That's-
So all properties have been neglected and under.
Yeah,
There's one at the top of Jeffrey Lane that.
I believe that, I'm sorry, the one on Circle Drive, oh, no.
All right, anybody else? Anybody else want to speak?
Zombie house. We're talking about
These
that.
are not the-
Hi, everybody, I'm Craig Brady, I live at 73 Pleasant Ridge Drive. I just want to know when you're gonna send out the legal notice to the residents in the neighborhood about the DEC hearing, so that we can create a hearing to see the DEC and have a meeting with them about the Cedar development.
You guys waiting for a response?
I'm asking, I mean,
Yeah, we don't.
Well, we did send that. We did send that. It's on our website, it's on our Facebook page.
Send the Freeman.
Website, Facebook page,
Kingston Freeman.
newspaper.
It's not us to send it out, it's the DEC.
Right. Well, the DEC requested that we send it out.
Okay.
Right, and we do it as part of the planning process.
Right.
The lead agency for seeker on this is the Town of Hurley Planning Board. Okay, so any type of action that they need to take would be done out of the escrow funds for this particular, so there's, out of the escrow, they've already advertised in the Kingston Daily Freeman.
But not everybody gets the free.
Right, I mean, sort of thing.
Look, you're not doing it to the resident, you're doing this for the residents of this town to do this. You're telling Craig and I that you are not gonna do this for the town of Hurley residents here, that you're not going to take anything, just to let them know that this is going on. Not everybody has Facebook, not everybody gets the Freeman, not everybody knows. And this area here has a lot of older people, and they
Legal notice in
don't
New York
do,
is posted
please,
at the
they
clerk's
do
office
not
and
do
the clerk's
social
board.
media.
Yeah, I believe what she's asking is if the town would go beyond what's legally
Right.
required, so.
Yeah.
that
The
local
biggest projects in
individuals
the town.
I thought-
Yeah.
I think it needs a little
can-
more.
And it's my
emphasis.
understanding that you guys left it off.
And you're
that you guys
telling the
were gonna
residents of
discuss.
this town you're not gonna do it for them?
No, we said we're gonna discuss it. We are
Cheryl, we're gonna
it,
discuss this, Cheryl, all
Yeah,
right?
we are.
Yeah, but we don't have that much time.
We can discuss it, shortly. All right?
thank you.
Greg, what's your last name?
Brecky, BREKKE.
Anybody else?
I just had a question about the road safety when we were talking about that. Oh. On Route 28.
What's your name?
Chris Roosevelt,
Chris?
West Hurley. Okay,
I have a mountain north.
okay, Drive.
Okay.
Just as you're coming down 28, we use the rail trail all the time on the one by the post office there. And going back to having like another lane or a turn lane or a sign quick enough. I mean, I hit my brakes all the time because people are shooting down 28 and it's a danger, trying to turn into the rail trail. I think people from out of town, that little round sign that says, entrance to get into the, people that don't live here, by the time they're on your tail as you're trying to turn, I just feel like that third lane or better signage further up to alert them that there is I mean, that's going to be used more and more. I feel like it's a hazard.
This is addressing that we spoke to the county about this, by putting in signs that way, putting a left-hand turn going that way, and they said no.
Or a sign saying that upcoming rail trail entrance. I mean, by the time you hit it, people, I mean, I pass it and I live, like right here. And because I look at people coming up my back and they're going, 45, 50, and you're coming onto a gravel road that's not paved.
That's exactly what we said to them.
Yeah, so you gotta slow down to get into it, and I passed it a couple of times to come around because I thought the guy was gonna hit.
We can bring this back up with, Kathy again,
Yes.
that comes through. You know, like, they put no,
It's just, yeah, that little brown sign.
Yeah,
When you hit it,
Yeah.
Petitions, I think we could get special wishes and then we'll let them tell us no.
All right, any other public comment?
By the way, I have your applications for the rec program. If anybody wants, they're over here. If you know of anybody that has children that like to, okay?
It's on the website too, and we'll re-promote it.
All right, anybody else want to speak? All right, I make a motion to close public comment number 2. All right, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Don't get it. Any opposed, I should say. All right, we are going now to executive session. All right, this is again, the medical financial credit of employee history, a people person, a corporation.
How many employees are discussing? Three. Good. So it looks like it's pursuant to Public Officers Law 105F pertaining to matters being the appointment, to the motion of 3 different particular employees.
Okay.
So do you have a motion?
The second.
The motion.
You made a motion?
Make a motion. Second by Greg. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Do you expect to make decisions when you come out, or you don't know? Okay, so I'll wait. Not a problem.
Mike, I'm gonna take off. Yeah, I'm gonna take off. I'll see you tomorrow. All I need, let's just take a picture. That with our group plan, but I'm not posting that anytime soon. And I need that
Yeah, you don't
road
have
safety
to-
presentation.
There's no reason to stay. I mean, I'll just do it in the minutes. There's no need to.
You got this. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, just that for road safety. All right, I'll sit. Down.
Okay.
Guys, have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow.
Right, Mike, you agree? Maggie does not need to.
Maggie doesn't say.
Okay. I'll stop the recording, not a problem.
I can pick them up tomorrow. I told her, I said, yeah, and then I said, maybe they can take you up. And bring them to the house. My house, not over, not tomorrow. No. All right, and that's the rest of the stuff. All right.
Go down it. Go back at it.
You can do that.
Yeah, I got it now. Everyone, get this.
Moving to it tomorrow. She's got to, she should have to cover that. Okay. Because that's cut this content. Okay. Got it. All right, good. All right. Have a good night, eh?